I can say to Queensland today that we have some very good news. We have 0 new cases. So to all those boys and girls out there, that's a donut day, and we're absolutely delighted that through the hard work of Queenslanders that we've got to that situation today. So well done everyone, and let's keep up the good work. We've still got just around a week to continue wearing our masks and doing the right thing and checking in. And don't forget too that the check-in app is mandatory today as well, and the Health Minister will go through a bit more in detail about that. So we have 45 active cases, 14,543 tests in the past 24 hours, 14,268 vaccines delivered by Queensland Health. So that is absolutely great news. And as I said, that check-in app is mandatory today. That includes major venues, theme parks, cinemas, shopping centres, beauty services, indoor events, outdoor events, gyms and indoor sports, hotels, motels, B&Bs, caravan parks, camping areas, government buildings, weddings and funerals, churches, places of worship, universities and TAFE, hospitals and aged care. So we've got those lists going out to everyone to make sure that they know that's where they have to check in. Can I also give a big shout out to all of our contact tracers that are doing a mighty effort out there. Well done to keeping Queenslanders safe. And while I'm doing the shout outs, can I also do a big congratulations to Ash Barty through to the Wimbledon Grand Final. Go Ash, a fantastic Queenslander, and no matter what happens, I know that Queensland's going to be firmly behind her. So I'll hand over to Dr. Young.
Thank you, Premier. So yes, excellent news today. 0 new cases, none in the community and none in hotel quarantine. Now, we do still have a lot of people in home quarantine and hotel quarantine, and I want to thank every single one of them. So today there's 8,679 people in quarantine, and they are keeping the rest of us safe. So thank you to them. And thank you to our contact tracers who have contacted all of these people and organised for them to be in quarantine. So that's important as we go through the next week. We're not totally out of it yet. We must keep up our quarantine and our testing. So thank you to every person over the last few weeks who's come forward and got tested. It's that working together as Queenslanders have been doing that has kept all of us safe. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Queensland, and best press conference ever, I think. To be able to say 0 today is just such a great outcome. But as the Chief Health Officer has said, we're not through this yet. The great news is of the over 8,000 people in quarantine, one, we thank you for keeping us safe, but any one of those people could end up unwell and testing positive. But the reason why we are very confident going forward is because they are in quarantine, and the lockdown that we had allowed us to contact trace and to contain those contacts into quarantine so that they are already away from the community when they weren't infectious. So this is a great outcome for everyone. Please keep getting tested. Please keep coming out and getting vaccinated. Of course, we are making sure that people are booked in. We do need to make sure people are booked in. The only walk-ins we'll be taking is if you are a frontline worker or required for your second dose, but even if it's your second dose, we'd still prefer you to book in or ring up 134 COVID if you have any concerns with that. The check-in app did become mandatory at 1 o'clock this morning, and can I give a shout out to the businesses around Redcliffe? I did a bit of a tour around the local businesses yesterday afternoon, and the compliance rate was absolutely fantastic. So big shout out to all those businesses for what they're doing. They've all got their check-in app up on walls and a whole lot of places, and I've seen a number of businesses also having a tablet that has the business app, so anyone who doesn't have a personal smartphone, the business is able to check those people in electronically as well. Overnight, we've had over 8,000 extra businesses register, with many of those, over 5,000 already approved in the system. So well done to all those businesses for getting online and making sure that they are registered for the app. And if you haven't yet, time's up. You need to get online, you need to register your business, and you need to make sure you're getting that signage up straight away. While we celebrate 0 new cases in Queensland today, sadly, globally, it is reported that they've hit the 4 million mark of deaths. 4 million people officially have died from COVID, but we know that those statistics are likely to be much higher. And it just reinforces what a great job Queenslanders have been doing and Australia has been doing throughout COVID. And please keep up the great work.
Could I start with the masks? Just a reminder for everyone that we have another week to, in those affected LGAs, to keep wearing masks as well as the other restrictions. So we handed out 111 yesterday, and we had to give out 3 penalty infringement notices. And in a couple of those instances, our police officers are getting abused and treated really poorly. The message to the community is carry a mask, wear your mask where you should. If you forget and you're approached by a member of the police service, they will give you the opportunity to put one on. They will give you the mask so you can put it on. If you push back, you will face a fine and potentially even more serious offences. So I understand there's only small numbers of people doing this, but it's very persistent that people aren't doing the right thing. So please help us there. At our road borders, we saw 1,842 vehicles come through, 3 were turned around. At our domestic air borders, 1,508 persons were processed, 4 turned around and 26 into quarantine. You've already heard the numbers from the Chief Health Officer, so we have large numbers of people in quarantine. Overall, very good compliance for those people, but we can continue to check that. Internationally, we saw 174 arrivals yesterday. Could I also mention the Check In Queensland app? So just for all the members of the community, as per the marks, the onus is on you to do the right thing and check in when you need to. The businesses are working with us. Please realise that if you don't check in, someone from that business may approach you and ask you to do that. Please do the right thing. We don't want to see the police have to get involved in trying to deal with that type of issue if people don't want to. Thank you.
When will we be out of it? You said we're not yet. I mean, what does it take for you to say yes, we're out of it?
All of those people who are in home quarantine to have exit results and make sure that there's been no issues there. So I would hope that by next Friday we are.
Do you know when the last double donut day was?
When we last didn't have a case? I'm sure I do, but I can't pull it out of my memory right now, but we'll find that for you.
2 days ago you said we're in a good place.
Yes. In a better place.
Can I ask you, I'm not sure if you've seen on the Gold Coast, some rugby league players being caught up in a bubble breach. That must be very frustrating for you, given we're not out of it yet.
Of course it is. But I know that the NRL is probably even more frustrated than I am. They've taken it extremely seriously. They let me know the second they became aware, they acted, they worked it through.
Are you confident with the work they're doing? You want to change that plan? Or?
No, their plan is superb. Yeah, they're just going to always, well, not always, but there are breaches that occur, but they're aware of them, they deal with them very, very quickly, and there's no risk to the community.
You're frustrated about the NRL. What about the Voco Hotel? Are you satisfied with what's happening there?
The Voco Hotel has not been a government quarantine hotel since the end of January. It's a hotel no different to any other hotel in the state. So there are industry plans for how hotels should be managed, and they apply across the whole state.
Again, but that wasn't the question I asked. I asked about whether you satisfied based on all the evidence.
I'm really satisfied with how everyone in our state has responded. We have got, I'm very satisfied how all of our hotels, all of our businesses have responded over the last 18 months, and look how they've kept us safe.
Yeah, and to clarify that, the process there, because yesterday Queensland Health told us it was an approved hotel by Queensland Health. You said it wasn't. I had a look at the legislation. I had a look at the legislation said a Queensland government nominated approved hotel. So can you just clarify that process?
I've clarified it multiple times. So people who are flying as crew on domestic or international flights, there is national agreement that we have to keep our airlines flying. We need all of the things they bring in. So, for instance, our vaccines, so there's been national agreement and we've worked with the airlines.
So there's no investigation or action being taken against anything we have covered?
No.
What, are you concerned that your emails have been corrupted?
Yes, I found out about that this morning. I've got no concern about my phone. It's working beautifully. I get all the emails, but I understand that there are so many of them that there's been some issues with other people looking at my emails. My emails are looked at by many, many people in Queensland Health.
Premier, what's going on in Sydney? Are you considering it all hard borders?
Lane, we're going to be looking at that very closely. I think the eyes of Australia really are on Sydney with the epicentre of the Delta strain at the moment, because our biggest concern is if that's not contained and brought under control, it'll spread right throughout the country. So I'm quite sure National Cabinet will be getting an update today about that, but of course I think everyone's very concerned.
What then do you make of the reports today about 3 of the senior ministers suggesting that they might need to just let the virus kind of...
In New South Wales, I'm not going to comment on New South Wales internal politics. I will do what's in the best interest of this state. Queenslanders know me. They know that they can put their trust in me to keep them safe. And I just think everyone is keeping a really close eye on what's happening, and that next week is going to be crucial.
What would it take, Brendan?
Sorry?
What would it take? Would it be something to move it through the regions or outside of Greater Sydney?
Look, I don't want to speculate, so I just want to make sure that we are monitoring it over the next week, and to see what actions the New South Wales government take.
Premier, those emails have been, there's a Gold Coast businessman has put an RTI in, wanting to see the emails that relate to your decisions in relation to closing of the borders. Will you release those emails with that advice?
There's been High Court cases on this. So all of that information's gone to the courts, and the court has determined that the states have the jurisdiction to put in place restrictions, border restrictions, to control the virus. There's been a High Court case on that.
Premier, just on that footballer and another one that's been caught misbehaving again on the Gold Coast, is that acceptable for them to be breaching the bicycle?
Look, Paul Green spoke to me this morning. We had a chat about it. He's very disappointed. I share his disappointment as well, and I think it's a big wake-up call to everyone to do the right thing.
What did you say to him? Did you give him
Sorry?
an ultimatum for his players about doing the right
No, I
thing?
didn't. No. It was a very respectful conversation, and he just wanted to ring me to let me know how disappointed he was, because everything had been going so well.
Are you comfortable with the situation?
I'm very comfortable, very comfortable.
Comfortable with the Mako hotel situation?
Yes.
Are you just why are you disappointed about the football, not about people
It's
transporting
not
through workers
a
with
government
masks?
quarantine
I know, but it's a
hotel.
public health issue, isn't it? Is that
It's a
people not
government.
wearing masks?
It's not a government quarantine hotel.
I know, but isn't it just it's a Queensland issue? People not wearing masks, transporting airline workers. Cleaners not wearing masks.
Well, you know, today what I've put on the agenda at National Cabinet is about our fly-in, fly-out and our airport crews being vaccinated. I think that's really critical. So I put that on the national agenda.
Why don't get the frustrated at football, but not that issue? What's the difference?
It's not a government, it's a normal hotel like every other hotel in this state.
There's some revelations about
Yes.
Bob Montgomery today, who was jailed last year. What does the government have to say to his victims about the fact it paid for those purposes?
Sorry, I have to look into that issue. I'm not.
Like the Department of Child Safety did respond.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't had a chance to look at that one, so I'll get back to you. Okay.
It's obviously a very sad day today.
Yes.
For the police service
Yeah.
and the family of Dave Martins.
Yeah.
I know you're not attending, obviously, the
Yeah.
National Cabinet, but did you have something to say about it?
Yeah, I do. And look, can I say on behalf of Queenslanders that our hearts go out to Sharon and Jack. I personally spoke with Sharon yesterday and conveyed to her the deepest condolences of not just myself but Queenslanders, and we are all with her today in what will be a very sad day. And I know the whole police community is like a family, and they will be there to support her and her son and her family and friends, not just today, but in the days and weeks and months and years ahead.
Dr. Young, can I just quickly clarify, sorry, you said that Queensland would be out of it, so to speak, when those test results come back for those 8,000 people in quarantine. If that's the concern, why do people in the community have to wear masks for another week?
Because I'm not 100% confident that we haven't had some cases out there that might have been asymptomatic and they can still spread. So that's why we just need a bit longer. This is too soon to say we're totally out of it, which is why people really have to keep wearing masks, maintain that social distance, maintain the density requirements of 1 person per 4 square metres, and most importantly of all, get tested if they're sick. Just because you think you haven't been in contact with someone who might have COVID, you might have been in contact with someone who had been in contact with someone, and the person you're in contact with didn't have symptoms. So that's why it's too early to relax yet. I'm feeling more and more comfortable each day, but not totally comfortable yet.
Dr. Young, can you clarify, so when you talk about being out of it,
Yep.
just for clarification, will there still be restrictions that are in place of some description?
Until everyone is vaccinated, yes, there will still be ongoing restrictions going forward, absolutely. But what they will be, for this particular conclusion of this outbreak, we'll have to work through depending where we're up to.
Thank you.
Dr. Young, you've been told of a close contact who was at an exposure site last Friday at Woolworths. They filled out the form, but they still haven't been contacted. Do you know why that might be?
Yes, so we asked people to go into quarantine for the 14 days and people have been doing that. You can imagine with those very large numbers, the reason we've done so well in Queensland is because people have voluntarily come forward and done absolutely the right thing. So sometimes it will take a bit longer, but they're at home. They can ring 134 COVID if they need any assistance with buying any food or anything like that. But they just need to wait until they're contacted. But there's 14 days.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
She's suggesting that those 6,000 or whatever, you know, quarantine.